Caller, you're on.
Morning, Vince. This is Sonny.
How you doing, Sonny?
Good. Gia, first of all, I'd like to wish you good luck in your exercise in futility.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, that didn't sound very encouraging.
It's still wishing her luck, Vince. You have to understand that politics, starting back before Washington, while the world was developing, you do something for someone, they do something for you. You have to understand, if you get in that position that Senator Maziarz holds, you're going to have to toe the line. And all these things you're saying you're going to do, you're only one vote. You're outnumbered by the New York City, Westchester County, Long Island legislators. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah, but I'll be using that vote effectively for our district. Senator Maziarz voted for the Message of Necessity, the SAFE Act. If he had voted no on that, would the Message of Necessity passed? Yes, but he would have held to his integrity and voted no on the Message of Necessity that made it easier for the SAFE Act to pass. Same goes with the budget votes that he used to fund the SAFE Act. If he had voted no, would it have changed the budget? No, it probably wouldn't have, but he would have been holding up to what his words are and staying true to what he says he's going to be doing in Albany for us.
I'm not speaking for the senator, but it sounds to me like he owed somebody, the downstate legislators, something in place of what they could get done for him. So it sounds like initially he was going along against it, but then in the end, when he got what he wanted, for the people, he must have got pressure from the people in his district, and then bottom line, he voted against it. That's my opinion. That's all it is. But I wish you good luck, and you're gonna have a tough road to hoe just to get there. And even if you make it, you have to do you understand? You have to listen to the leaders of the party.
If the party's not helping me, I don't plan on listening to them at all. I will not have a party affiliation. The Republican Party has refused to do anything with me, and that's fine. They're going to help the incumbent, which is understandable. He's got a lot more money than I do. But if I get elected under the Republican line, I'd like to see them try to make me do something I'm not going to stand for.
Well, how effective will you be for your constituents if you're going to stick to that logic?
How effective is George Maziarz right now? I'm
Very
going to be as effective as I can be representing what their voices are in Albany, because that's all that I'm required to do is represent their voices.
Gia, good luck to you.
Hey,
Thank
Sonny,
you.
Sonny, before you go,
Yes.
I just thought of something for our Italian listeners. You know that compliment you gave at the beginning?
Yes.
In Sicilian, it's called faccia lavata. I'll see you later.
All right, bye.
Caller, you're on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And I'd like to congratulate Gia for having a very courageous attitude and a courageous stand for her tackling Senator George Maziarz. He's been our representative for far, far too long. I believe it's going on 20 years.
Thank you.
And I also have to agree. Vince,
Yes.
know George is such a hard worker. And I mean, my God, he works so hard to keep our taxes the second highest in the country. He works so hard to keep our power rates so high. And he also keeps us one of the most polluted areas. He works very hard, but he works very hard at the wrong thing. Now, Gia,
Yes.
I'm sure you've heard that the governor was declared by the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington for scrapping the Moreland Act Commission. I have never heard the senator take a stand that he opposed this. What is your feelings on the governor ending the Moreland Commission for government reform?
Well, I did issue a statement about this a couple of weeks ago when it first happened, and I felt that it was very important that, something like that stayed in New York State that wasn't directly connected to the governor, because currently it was Governor Cuomo's Moreland Commission, and he felt that he had ultimate control. I think that it was a political ploy used to get Governor Cuomo into office, telling us that he's going to fight corruption, and I don't think that Senator Maziarz did anything to keep that Moreland Commission, and he's, holding a chair in the committee, so, he could have done a lot more to ensure that corruption was being fought, but we know why he didn't.
Yeah, because he scrapped. What they're claiming is that he scrapped this reform because of documents on his conduct as governor and attorney general. But the point is, I have not heard our state senator mention about the Moreland Commission. And, they're going after campaign violations and everything. Oh, incidentally, Senator Maziarz is the poster boy for 417 election law violations. So, I mean, he doesn't want to bring that up. He doesn't bring up all the things that he voted on to keep New York State in the abysmal state that it's in. And actually, if you take a look at our area, he's only very powerful because he can keep the people poor, and he wants to control what little jobs that he can control in Niagara County. I mean, it's high time that we need to take a look at his voting record also. And I'd be very surprised if you take a look at his voting record to see how he voted for. I know in last year's budget, he voted for every single thing, including the Revenue Act, with the governor's proposal. I mean, he's voted consistently. He's voted year after year to raise school taxes to wealthy districts. The list goes on and on and on. I mean, after 19 years, you accumulate a lot. But the point is, Vince,
Yes.
hear me.
Yes.
You want to talk about issues.
Where were you Dingus Day?
I didn't go, Vince.
I know.
I know Sonia wanted to go, but I didn't go. But anyways, Gia.
Yes.
Oh, Vince, tell her the truth. When you get the senator on your program, does he talk about state issues? No. He talks about Dennis Virtuoso. He talks about your mayor. He talks about everything but state business. Come on. When you interview that man, you should have a crucifix and a chain of garlic around your neck.
I also have the red ribbon and the goat's horn.
Gina, good luck to you. I wish you a lot of luck. And if you take a look and see at the friends and family on the payroll, it's astonishing how much his little friends and his family cost the taxpayers in Niagara County. I mean, okay, now, I do like the one thing that the legislative branch did when they reduced the corporate tax. But I don't hear the senator saying how much we're spending on tax abatements around here. Now, he didn't talk about Covanto, what's happening there, but yet he went after Quasar. I mean, like I said, the list goes on and on and on. We're so heavily polluted in this area. I mean, it's just to the point where we definitely need a change. I like the idea where you had said that, you didn't want to listen to parties like that. But sometimes, it's give and take and everything. You can't have things the way it wants to be, but the control aspect is what I don't like in Niagara County. I mean, you have one person. In fact, there was an article in the Buffalo News that said that even people in his own party were afraid to say anything for fear of retribution by him. Isn't that nice to have a reputation like that? Do you know what he calls his constituents? Operatives. Can you believe that? Would you ever go on the radio and if you had your constituents ask you questions regarding campaign contributions or regarding contracts that you've dished out for power companies, would you go on record and call your constituents operatives if you didn't like what they had to ask you?
Thank you. We have other callers,
okay.
but I appreciate it.
For your time. But
And
Vince,
one of these days, you and I are going to have a show.
yeah, we'll have a show, all right. We'll have a show down, Vince.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye
Take
now.
care. Take care. I know what the caller was saying, and it's for me. I always have in the back of my mind it's the callers as opposed to call up and challenge. It's not for me to attack. Although when it's something that I know a lot about, I try to at least give my point of view. But again, it's a call-in show, the Vincenello Show, and you can reach us at 297-1059. And caller, you're on.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Yeah, I know I was a little familiar with Miss Arnold, but just from reading the papers that she was going to be challenging the senator, and so when I turned on your show this morning, I'm thinking to myself, okay, here we go. There's going to be this 24-year-old girl, and I cringed thinking about how she was going to present herself. But I have to say, like, I am so happy and so excited, and y'all often hear about people that lack the fire in their belly to go to Albany. This woman definitely does not lack the fire in her belly. So I'm really excited to hear the things you're saying, and actually the way you say them, and I can hear it in your voice, Ms. Arnold, that you're really serious about this. A couple callers ago made a comment about that you have to work the political system, and I love the answers that you gave back, saying that you actually don't. I'm not naive. I know that downstate controls most of everything that happens, okay? But that doesn't mean that you have to be a conformist and go down there and just roll over and do things so that they throw you a scrap every once in a while. I definitely 100% would rather have my representative stand up for what they believe, what they say they're going to do, and lose 100% of the time than go down there and be a two-faced politician, for lack of a better term. So I just want to say good luck. I'm a registered Republican. I'll be voting for you, and expect a check, and I'll be watching you.
Well,
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Bye.
Well, you wanted to say thank you too, right?
Oh, yeah, thank you very much.
I just want to thank him for the call. We do have other callers on the line. Would you like to go to another call?
Sure.
Okay, caller, you're on.
Hi.
Hello.
I'd like to know if she's in favor of term limits on voting.
Yes,
one?
I said earlier in the show that I support term limits on all public seats, whether it's town, county, state especially, and school board as well. As if we could set up something where you were limited to even just following after the president's 8 years. 8 years is the maximum you can hold in one particular chair, and then you're done.
Okay, that's good. Now, with voting too, with ID and everything, would you be interested in the people that have that electronic voting where, you just have to run your hand scanned over it for a fingerprint? And it's not that you got to do it beforehand or anything. They're doing it at Walmart for people for their time clocks. They're using it in schools for kids to pay for their meals and stuff like that. Wouldn't that be easier for voting rights? I mean, it truly identifies who you are. You can't fake anything.
I support some sort of voter identification in order to vote. If there was a way to have, a government-issued ID where everyone, so that they could, but to make sure that we are preventing voter fraud, because I do believe that it's an issue.
That's what a fingerprint does. It's more reliable than picture ID or anything else. But it seems that and that's the simplest thing. The police even carry little hand scanners with them to check people out sometimes now. And another thing. I what you said about the gun laws and that, but how about medical marijuana for children, especially the ones with like epilepsy and stuff like that? And then after that, are you interested in legalizing it to be distributed like alcohol?
I support marijuana legalization. As far as giving it to children medically, I think that I would need to make sure and see more research that it was safe for the children to use. It would have to be a decision that the parents were making with enough research and education from the doctors, giving them all the, consequences and pros and negatives to it, so that they were making the best educated decision that they could for their children. And if we could come up with a system better than maybe learn from Colorado's system to legalize marijuana.
You don't have to go as far as Colorado. You got to New Hampshire that borders New York State. You call the state police. They will send you forms for the children, how you got to go about. And as I would go for the states that surround us first, because if they haven't legalized it, they are going to legalize it. 2 miles from where you're at right now, medical marijuana is legal. So you should get the laws of the surrounding states rather than going as far as Colorado.
All right, absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much, caller.
Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, it's we're here with Gia Arnold, and running for Senate this season, and we do have other callers on the line, and we'll go to our next caller. Caller, you're on. Yes, caller, you're on. Caller, you're on. we seem to scare people off. I don't know. She's only 24 years old. She's really pleasantly speaking. I mean, she doesn't raise her voice like I do, I mean, again, folks, it's the Vincenello Show on WJJL 1440, and you can reach us live at 297-1059. Gia, go ahead. We have about 12 minutes. Continue with what you have to talk about and offer. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. A couple of callers ago, he mentioned, where I've stood and what I've been saying about how I'll work in Albany. And one of the things I've been telling people is that I won't be negotiating with terrorists. And they kind of laugh at me because I'm calling Governor Cuomo and some of the other Senates and Assembly people terrorists in the New York State government. But I figure since he called me an extremist a few months back, that it's only fair that I relate him to a similar term. And as far as the Moreland Commission thing goes, the more research that I've done, I've noticed that when the Moreland Commission first came around, and last summer it had come into an investigation on fracking contributions. So fracking companies' campaign contributions, and Senator Maziarz was one of the top 2 on the list for fracking campaign contributions in the past 5 years. And they co-aligned that with the people in the Senate and Assembly who are also working the hardest to have fracking allowed in the state. So it was just a correlation that the Moreland Commission was doing further research on. So I can only wonder if perhaps Senator Maziarz was okay with it closing down because he was in one of the cases.
Well, how do you feel about fracking?
I think that it's up to a local community to decide. I think ultimately, whatever town or village is considering the option, they need to be the ones making the ultimate decision, getting all of the research and education that they can on what's going on and the pros and cons of it, and they need to make the ultimate decision.
So you believe that, are you supporting the state's efforts right now to where I think it was last year, or maybe even before that, where Governor Cuomo said that he wasn't going to make a decision until studies were made and there'd be some reports?
I think Governor Cuomo is kind of just hanging around because he can't make a decision before an election year, and that's why he's done nothing. But I think that what we need to do is, instead of having Governor Cuomo be in charge of it or the state legislature, we need to give it to the towns and counties that it would ultimately be affecting. They need to make the decisions.
But after proper research.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because research would have to be funded by government. I don't think individuals would do that. Caller, you're on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to know her stance on, abortion, and also on, escaped me now. I'd like to stand on gay marriage, how she feels about that, and also, if she's pro-abortion or what.
Okay, let's hear the answer to that from Gia.
I am pro-life.
You pro-life?
I believe that it's a woman's right, and it's the fetus's right also, that it's its own separate entity from the woman. And as far as gay marriage goes, I support a person's right to choose what they do with themselves so long as they're not causing unjust harm to another. That being said, I support gay rights as well.
We've had a number of callers. If there's something that you want to reaffirm or rehash or something that you want to clear up, go ahead. We do have callers coming in, but go ahead.
Okay, well, to delve into the pro-life stance, I feel that right now in our communities and in our state, we've kind of taken the responsibility off of the individual that may be choosing an abortion over keeping the baby that they're pregnant with. And if we could instead enforce, personal responsibility for your actions and safer ways of going about, preventing becoming pregnant, so that we can stop having as many abortions as we do. We're the abortion capital of the country, and I don't look at that as something to be proud of. I think that what we need to do is make sure that the individual abortion's legal in New York State right now. I don't think that there's much I can do to change that. I wouldn't vote to expand it, but what we could do in our communities, at least, and in our district, is focus on making sure that these women making the decision have all sides of their choices and all options, because it almost seems as though abortion is the top choice and the top choice that's out there promoted, and instead of keeping the baby or looking at other options like adoption and that.
What do you see as the 3 top challenges for us here in Western New York? A lot of the communities are suffering, and we know that I think most people would agree that it has to do with with lack of jobs. But what are your 3 top challenges that you see?
Well, I think the first one would be lowering taxes and energy costs, and doing that would make the business climate better. Hopefully open up more jobs for people, allow businesses to come and businesses to stay. I think that we need to protect our children by getting rid of Common Core. And then the third would be personal freedom, making sure that people are free to choose what they do with themselves as long as they're not causing unjust harm to another.
We do have other callers on the line. You want to go to a caller?
Okay.
Okay, caller, you're on.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I had a question and suggesting something that might help with the campaign to unseat Senator Maziarz. I've read about that there are some people who want to have elections financed by state taxpayers. So, like people who are trying to raise money on a grassroots level, like Mrs. Arnold, might be able to have a chance against some of these politicians who have big war chests. I was just wondering if she would support that, or would she see that as a help to her? Thanks.
Well, I believe that public campaign financing may be beneficial as long as it's optional to the taxpayer to participate in it, and as long as it's optional for the politician to participate in it. I know currently that there's legislation being worked on where the politician has the option of choosing whether or not they want to participate. But on top of that, I need to I'd like to see and make sure that if that's passed, that the taxpayer has the option of participating in that as well, and that we're not forcing, something that a taxpayer doesn't believe in on them to participate in.
I would love to see a strong effort in this country or in this state to have things done similar to what they do in Canada. In Canada, what they do is they have a limit on how much you can spend, not a limit on how much you receive. So if, for instance, back in 2004 or 5, I believe the limit for a candidate for running for mayor in Canada, Niagara Falls, Ontario, our sister city, was $50,000. You could be a multimillionaire. Your father could write a check for $1 million for you to run for office, but you could only spend $50,000. I think what that does is takes away the issue of the big donors. They can donate, but it's not going to help the race, okay? And I don't know. I would love to see something like that because you never, ever, look at the Supreme Court decisions that we've had in the last 4 years. You're never, ever going to get big money away from campaigns when you have even the Supreme Court believing that corporations are people too. Just to me, it doesn't make any sense. How do you feel about that?
I would agree with you with everything that you just said. I think that a lot of the times the politicians are getting so much money and they're allowed to spend it all currently as long as, they're working for the corporations, that money keeps flowing in. So to set a cap where they could still receive that money but weren't necessarily able to spend it on that campaign might be a better option at helping a grassroots or a smaller candidate.
See, and the other thing that I believe should be done with campaign money, even if this system was put in place about having a cap, is what you can do with that money once you leave office. Because the powerful are the powerful. And I would like to see campaign reform for sure. I would like to see something done about the fact that this notion that corporations are people too really distresses me, because I think the working person has enough to worry about than this issue of receiving 10, 20 pieces of mail because the campaigns are well financed. But with that also, again, you and I disagree on term limits, but that's something that we could probably debate for a whole hour, But I think it's important that people get involved. So we're down to about 90 seconds, and you can wrap it up and talk to your future constituents if you lucky enough to win.
All right, great. Yeah, I would just like to let them know that if they want to reach out to me or write to me or call me or ask me any questions, that they can go to my website at www.votegia.com. It's VOTEGIA. I've also got a Facebook under Gia Arnold and a Twitter, And that if there's anything that they can think of that they haven't heard from me yet, or they want me to give them my opinion on something, to just reach out and I'll be more than happy to answer.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you on the campaign trail. I mean, I'm hoping to bring candidates in, and Senator Maziarz was scheduled for later this month, but I had to change that because I have to go and take care of some business. But again, thank you very much. Thank you for being here, and this is the Vincenello Show on WJJL. Thank you very much, folks.